Hi everyone. Hi Playful. So, today we're going to take a look at the French mental clock with the Échappement visible. So, for those of you who don't know what an Échappement visible is, so an Échappement visible is basically that the escapement is visible on the front. I'm going to zoom in soon, but just for the explanation. So you can see here the escapement wheel, and then the escapement itself within the two pallets. And in this case, they are made out of real ruby, not synthetic ruby like they do nowadays, but the real deal. So, why would they do this? Well, when these clocks were designed, synthetic ruby did not exist yet, so they had to use real ruby, and it was cut to size, so it was really expensive. So that's the reason why they put it at the front of the clock and making it visible, hence the name Échappement visible. So let's zoom in a bit. So, yeah, like that. That's better. So yeah, you can see, it's a bit out of focus, it seems. Yeah, that's way better. So, move my phone out of the way. So yeah, so here you can see the two palettes made out of ruby. Might zoom in a little bit more just on the palette. So basically, once I disassemble this clock, you will see that basically the dial is made out of two pieces. So this piece is attached to the movement. Yeah, well, the problem is this is a Brocaud escapement, and a Brocaud escapement, they are really inefficient, and they are prone to just not like stop working really quickly. Like the moment you tilt the clock a tiny bit, Brocaud escapements just stop working. So they are not really ideal. But like, yeah, it kind of works good enough. So yeah, like now I'm going to zoom in a bit more so you can really see these rubies. Let's focus a bit. So now you can see them pretty clearly. So this is one, and this is one. So, and that's the escapement wheel. Well, but yeah, I kind of get what you mean, but the problem with having a visible escapement is that, like, if you just use a Swiss leather one, that's not really much to see. Like, it's so small, like, it isn't really worth showing it off. Well, that's at least my opinion. Like, you could maybe make up some kind of an escapement that's cool to show off, but that's a bit like reinventing the wheel, I guess. Yeah, make it big, but I think you're probably going to come into constraints with how big you can make it, because first of all, you needed to mount it like vertical, on a vertical plane. So I don't really know. You probably run into problems with weight of the escapement body. Not really sure. Because like the Swiss lever escapement isn't symmetrical. And like on those clocks with like those bent plate escapements, you get into trouble because they are often mounted at angles, and that's why they don't really start all that well. But yeah. So, before we disassemble the clock, I first need to get off this broken hand. So, let's see. It's kind of like a small wire. It's almost like it's a hair. Seems like they just placed like a... like they put like a... normally it's a conical pin there, but they put in like a really fine wire, so it's really hard to pull out. Might just have to snip it off and... Yeah, but like you, with all the research you've done into escapements, which one would you use for like something nice, visible? I guess just a simple Brocault escapement would be... is there a noise gate? No. There's not a noise gate set up. Nope, no gain control either. I'm just compressing my voice ever so slightly. Yeah, that's it. Like yeah, I do have a brick limiter, but I'm pretty sure that's not active right now. It's not that I'm shouting. It's just like there's some work noises in the background. My neighbors are redoing their yard and a part like of the back of their house, so there's some noises, there's some building noises in the background, but it is so warm in here, so I have the window open. Well, I can show you a screenshot, like, there's no noise gate. Like, noise gate is set to 0. Nah. The angle grind for the win. Okay. But yeah, let's get that thing off. Well, yeah, maybe you see more of my settings than I do. But, like... yeah. Like, all I've set up is a compressor, and a compressor doesn't do what you are telling. Is it doing that again? Yeah. Okay. That's really annoying. Like, normally whenever Discord, like whenever you open OBS, Discord goes into streaming mode automatically and it mutes you notifications. But I've noticed that sometimes it doesn't work. I did not change my settings. Like I just muted Discord. That's all. But yeah, like I was saying, like normally you do like when you open OBS, Discord goes into live streaming mode, and you're not supposed to have notifications. That's strange. Well, yeah. Whatever. You know that I'm streaming. The weird thing about it is that I don't get the notifications through my speakers. That's the weird thing. Really? Doesn't really want to come off, it seems. Like, there's really nothing left that can hold it. Whoops. Kind of looks a bit out of frame. Yeah, grammar escapement might do it. Okay, it's off. Now we can remove that tiny bit that was left of that watch hand. So, okay, we got them both off. So now that we both have them off, it is time to pop open the back, and there are two long screws that come from the back till the front. I'm going to show them afterwards, but first I'm going to remove them. could just turn it around and show you. Like, this thing weighs a ton. I think it's at least like 20 kilograms. Oh yeah, it has a glass back. It's a bit cracked, but it's still nice to have. So those are the two screws I was talking about earlier. Oh, and they are not very long in this case. Interesting. Oh dear. Seems like we have a bit of a dog problem behind my house. Yeah, no Chinese plastic bag. No, that's for sure. So now let's see. So we got it out. So that means that I can take this massive thing off my desk. So now let's take a look at the movement. So let's talk a bit about, because this is basically a classical movement for a French mental clock, and there are some very specifics about it, but like this one is in special because of the Échappement visible. So you can kind of see, like, it's just like, this is the pendulum leader here, just a long axle. The underneath, it goes all the way to the front to the escapement. And this axle you see on top, or the top axle, that's for regulating the pendulum length. I'm going to explain that later a bit more. But that's not specific about the Échappement visible, that's more specific to French mental clocks. So, to make it a bit easier for me, I'm going to remove those metal bars. put on a bit too small. Let's see. This one might do it. Seems like I was not the first to have fun with that screw. Whoops. More light from the left. Kinda. Well, I did that and doesn't really, like, I don't really see a difference. Maybe you do, but wait. Yeah, the window isn't ideal, I know. But I do have a ring light for the camera. Let's get that. That might do it. Well, seems like the batteries are that of the ring light, but going to try anyways. Nope. Reserve batteries are attached to. But what I can do is I can put some blinds that might solve it. I guess that's better. But yeah, like the problem is a lot of like camera equipment still is made to use alkaline batteries because that's what's available. Like if you want to shoot middle of nowhere, you can just go to like a gas stop and buy some alkaline batteries, like. So, and then like most equipment can work with like rechargeable batteries, so that's not really a problem. The only problem is, yeah, and they do sell USB power banks at gas stops. That's true. But yeah. So the problem is with high capacity rechargeable like rechargeable AA batteries, the high capacity ones, they have a high sort of discharge. So if you leave them in for a long while, they are just not charged anymore. But yeah, like the ring light I use for the GoPro is a USB one. I might get one for the main cam too. Because like it really helps a lot, like the ring light gives really nice lighting, so yeah, let's remove the part 1 of the dial. So, whoops, that's the bell. So there are just a few conical pins holding it in. But like, yeah, like I said before, like a lot of like production well, I'm pretty sure that if I just run the LEDs at 5 volts USB, it's going to be fine. Like they're using they're using 4 AA batteries in series, so like 5 volts would be just fine. It's a bit of a tough one. But like, yeah, like I said before, like a lot of like camera equipment and like film equipment, they just like they are stuck in time a bit. Well, the nice thing of these days is they do sell a lithium batteries with a switching converter in them. Yeah. But the thing is, like, it isn't really meant for continuous use. Like the ring light I have for my DSLR is basically it's a flash. It's an LED flash for macro photography, but it has a continuous mode. The only problem is the continuous mode. It kind of gets warmer than I wish it would get, so maybe running them at 5 volts wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyways, but it's a bit on the small side, so might just better be off buying a second one of those ring lights, because they work pretty well for them. Let's get out the big one because it doesn't want to move. Come on. Let's see if I can yank it out with a screwdriver. Yep, it's out. So, that's dial 1. That's off. Yeah, 18650s would be so perfect that everything would just take an 18650. So now that this is off, let's talk a bit about the fine-tuning of the setting of the clock. So this pokes through. Okay. So this axle, yeah, the front is a bit like how you're doing, and I'm not sure. Like there was some reading on here, but yeah, can't really resurrect it, I think. Like the lady who brought it in said that she had never seen it work, so yeah, that means a lot. So yeah, this you can see. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. Like, yeah, click through me to that, but yeah, that's not really the kind of customers I have. Mostly, they just want to see it working. Sad enough, but so you can see on this piece of the axle, you used to be able to get keys that fit on here, and you can see there's a little gear on the end. That gear like locks in with this gear. Oops. So this gear on top, so it locks in, and there's a little click spring here, and this gear is there's a screw mounted onto it, and this screw moves up and down this little block, and this is the pendulum. How do I call it? This is the pendulum suspension spring, and you can see by moving this small. Let's see if I can get it a bit more into focus. Yeah, you can see by moving this small block up and down, you basically shorten the length or make the length longer of the pendulum in total. So that's a pretty decent system of having fine-tuning that the customer even can do. So yeah, so these clocks used to come with a small key that fit on this axle that allowed the customer to like fine-tune the clock if it was running a bit off. Yeah, that's a really nice thing, and like it might sound funny, but before they had this system with the 2 gears and the screw that moved this block up and down, they would just have the same axle, but instead of a suspension spring, the pendulum would hang on a little piece of cotton wire, and the cotton wire would just wrap around here, or not, like if you... So basically by turning it, you would wrap the wire a bit more up, or it would go a bit down. So that system was a bit how you doing, because that cotton wire would wear out pretty quickly. But yeah, it was later on replaced by this. So so yeah, that's that. Pretty neat system. Like, so let's remove the bell. So, funny thing you will notice about the bell is that the hole is not in the center. That's because you need to fine tune it. So you mount it, turn it until it barely, the hammer and the bell barely hit each other. So you want them to just have like you can put a paper in between them for the ultimate sound. So you want it to hit, but you don't want it to hit and then rest on the side of the bell, because that's going to dampen the sound. So you want to, if it goes down, it hits the bell, and then it stays away from it, so it has all the energy to make sound. So then you can see this is the wheel that has all the cutouts for the striking mechanism. So French pendulum clocks do strike. It's pretty similar to all of the other old striking mechanisms. So it's pretty... The only thing that's a bit annoying about those, but once you get used to it, they are very precise on all the distances for striking and pre-striking. And the problem is you need to mount a complete clock and get it right from the first time, because once you close this and it isn't okay, it isn't good, you've done something wrong, you need to disassemble it completely. Yeah, for the strikes in France, kinda, yeah. So that's a bit of the annoying thing. But on the other hand, all the materials used in this kind of clocks were top notch, meaning that the brass in this is brass. If you ever need to drill a hole into it, like, this is a nightmare to drill a hole into. Really. Like, this brass is... So the way they made it... Because you also can see it's round, because making a square clock at that time wasn't an easy thing. If you see a square clock from that time, you could often see that it was 2 pieces soldered together in a way to get a square. It was far from ideal, so making a round clock was easier. So what they would do is they would just start with a piece of brass, heat it up, hammer it out, and then when they were close to the final shape of the clock, they would just keep on hammering even if the brass was cold. And that means that by hammering this out, it gets cold. By hammering it out cold, it gets very hard. So you rarely see any kind of wear on the holes where the axles run in. Also, the axles themselves are all from steel, and it's steel like it's glass hard steel. So it's really hard. They do not wear, but if you're not careful, you might just break them. Because, yeah, work hardened. You might break them because they are brittle. The steel in this is so hardened that it's brittle, which means it's good. There's hardly any wear on clocks like this, but you need to be careful disassembling it, because if you, well, it's brittle, so it might break. Yeah, that's about it about the French mantle clock specifically. Oh yeah, there are numbers on the clock. Going to zoom in a bit. So those numbers, they mean something in an old French measurement system. So this allows, those three numbers allow you to calculate the effective length of the pendulum. So if you ever need a pendulum for a clock like this, there is a formula. You can convert those old French measurements to millimeters, so you can still know which pendulum length was meant for this clock, which is very cool. Something you see on, like, from the 70s on, it's something you often see in modern clocks, like from the 70s and 80s. You often see on the back of the movement they just tell you a pendulum length. But in this case, yeah, old French measurements. I can't remember the details of my top. They are really odd numbers. But yeah, it's a handy feature to have. Well, yeah, I'm not saying millimeter isn't French, but there were some odd ones, odd measurements, like. So yeah, now let's talk a bit about the Échappement visible part of it. So, normally a French mantle clock. Going to zoom out a bit, and then focus. So a normal French mantle clock will just be those two plates. This completely over the top brass plate in front is purely for the Échappement visible and for the new for the secondary part of the dial. So like you can see, like, the escapement wheel is just going through that axle and going into the movement by another gear. So I'm going to disassemble the escapement bridge, but first I'm going to check if there's any tension on the springs left, because I don't want parts flying everywhere. So let's see. Oh, it's a really small one. I hope I have a key for it that fits, because otherwise I'm kinda screwed. Okay, this one fits, and it seems like... Oh, this isn't, there's no tension on the... Oh, and this one has a little tension left. So let's see. It was only a bit. Okay. It would have been fine, but better safe than sorry. It's alive. So yeah, this is the escapement bridge as we call it. So it's basically just a little brass plate in an L shape, only securing the escapement. Yeah, rapid unexpected disassembly. While it can be fun, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, and you can break gears and other parts of the clock by rapid disassembly. You can also lose them because they might fly across the room to wherever. So yeah, what I wanted to say is this is another one of those like for regulating the distance in between the escapement wheel and the escapement. That's one of those bushes, like, and it's an eccentric hole in them, so you can, by turning this, you can regulate the distance in between. Also, why isn't there there's no stream shadow on the screen? Okay, that's fixed now. Have to be really careful because the end of the axle is really fine. And like I said, glass heart. So it seems like I need to disassemble the other side too. So you can see we have an escapement bridge here too. So like here you can see a bit of the detail of the regulating mechanism. You can see here the gear, the small spring here that just clicks into, like, it gives you clicks, and every click is so many seconds. So yes, now let's disassemble. The escapement wheel bridge. Ooh, it's fine. Slid in the screw. Ooh, that's going to be annoying. Be right back. I'm going to look for a very fine white screwdriver. I have one of those. found it! Oop. Getting a phone call. Be right back. And I'm back. So yeah, it's really annoying. So this is a fine screwdriver. I made it finer than it was originally, especially for these clocks. So the thing goes like, the older a clock or a watch gets, the older it becomes, the finer screwdrivers need to be. Which is like, for a clock it's kind of okay, but for a watch with really tiny screws, like sometimes you just have to make a knife from your screwdriver to get them open. But yeah, Torx didn't exist in that time, so and then like this is going to become an annoying one, because like you can see, half of the screw head is missing. So I'm going to see, yeah, it comes out. So now we can, no, it's still stuck. Okay, going to be no, I can get it out. So got the escapement wheel out. So now let's see, do I need to disassemble? No, I can just leave the plate on. So now there are 3. Yeah, there are 3 more conical pins holding this plate to the main movement. this one is going to be annoying again. So this, where is it? So this conical pin, like they hit it so hard with a hammer that it's split. So it's going to be, let's see, can I get it out with this one? Yes, okay. That's great. So now I should be able to, yes, okay. So yes, oh, there's just some bit of power left, so it seems. But yeah, now I got this off. So now we are just back to the movement. So yeah, now we can see all the levers for striking mechanism, the hand mechanism, so yeah, let's disassemble further. Just going to undo all the screws and so now those click springs don't really need to come off, and let's see, I don't really know, but it seems like they butchered this too, so I hope I can get it off in a decent way. Yeah, they butchered this too, so let's see. If they want to get off. Nope, they are not even moving. Oh, got one off. That's a good sign. Let's see, can I get the second one off? Nope. Replacement screws. Yeah, I just have a box of old screws, and just look for one that fits. You can get like those plates, threading plates, where you just can put in a blank screw in a blank screw, and it will supply it with a thread. So that's one way of doing it. But yeah, basically in the small screw sizes, you can have threads go from I think they start at 0.3 millimeters, and they go up in steps of a tenth of a millimeter. So you can have 0.3, 0.4, and then until, I think we go until 2 or 3 millimeter. So if you really need to make a screw, you can just go into those increments, and you can get one that reasonably fits if you need to. But like I said, those plates are really handy. Since the screws are so small, you can get away with just threading it in one go, basically. Let's see, where am I? I'm getting out the small crowbars, but I need something to rest the movement on. And off it goes. So that's off. Those are cleaning baskets of my ultrasonic cleaner, in case you were wondering. So yeah, now instead of a conical pin, also here they used like a small wire. So let's see if I can untie that. Well, I'm pretty sure they come from the same factory as a frying basket. So now I need to get this wheel off, so let's see. Nope. And I might not be able to get the crowbars under this. So, well, let's see, frying basket again. Yes. Okay, it's off. Yes, what you say does exist, but yeah, I don't really know. Like a reverse hammer would be handy too, I guess. But yeah. I'll screw that bow hold off. So yeah, now it's time to remove the last conical pins and disassemble the movement completely. Yeah, so this movement is a bit different. This one has like 3 conical pins and then 1 screw apparently holding it down. Where's my other screwdriver? Oh, come on. I guess there's a conical pin, because I need to remove it before I can turn the screw. Huh. Oh, now it makes sense. The screw head was to screw in the pillar, not to hold the movement in place. Whoops. Oh dear, another phone call. Be right back. And I'm back. Sorry for that, but it seems to be popular today. So yes. So yes, those are the levers that are for the striking mechanism. This is the one that drives the hammer. So you can see on this wheel there are, let's see, focus. So there are all these pins and they lift this small pin up, which lifts up the axle, which in turn lifts up the hammer. So, cute little wind vane. Some more gears with little pins on them to stop the movement. You can see the barrels. There are little dots in them here to mark them, which is pretty nice touch from the factory out. So you can see, even though they are marked from the factory, somebody still wrote a G on them, which is kind of blasphemy, but somebody who doesn't know the system. It's also pretty common to find marks on the wheels. In this case, it's not. Sometimes they put marks on the wheels to notify you from the order they need to be mounted in, which is, well, for most watchmakers, they kind of know which gear needs to go where, but it's a nice touch. Going to remove this. This is the other side of the escapement wheel bridge, so this is actually what connects the escapement wheel with the rest of the movement. But I need to get this bridge off to remove the center wheel. So yeah, that was it for the Échappement visible and French mental clock. So I am going to disassemble. No, I just assemble it. What am I saying? I'm going to take a bathroom break and going to put this clock in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I'm going to play some Astroneer in the meantime. So be right back. So yeah, wireless tuning is updating. We just have this screen for now. So yeah, 24 seconds they say. Almost.